What really happened to Jeffrey Epstein?
Who is he?
Who were his connections? Join me as I dive deep into Epstein's darkest secrets and challenge myself to uncover what really happened. Jeffrey Epstein, a name that echoes through the corridors of power and secrecy. His life was a tapestry of wealth, influence, and mystery, but it's his death that has sparked 1,000 questions.
Found dead in his cell on August 10, 2019.
Epstein's demise has been a focal point of speculation and conspiracy theories.
The official story tells us it was a suicide, but many find it hard to swallow. Allegations of trafficking and exploitation have haunted Epstein for years.
The accusations are stark. A network of underage girls, powerful connections, and a trail of evidence that suggests a much larger, more sinister operation. At the heart of it all is Epstein himself, a figure whose influence reached the highest echelons of society.
The questions linger. How did he manage to evade justice for so long?
What was the extent of his network?
Epstein's connections read like a who's who of global power.
From royalty to politicians and billionaires to influencers, the list of his associates is both shocking and extensive. The events at his mansion, the island getaways, and the lavish parties have all become synonymous with a culture of abuse and entitlement.
The implications are profound. A system that allowed one man to operate with such impunity for so long. The societal impact of Epstein's actions and the revelations that have followed cannot be overstated. It speaks to a culture of corruption and abuse where power and wealth can shield you from accountability.
The stories of survivors, the courage they've shown in coming forward, are a testament to the strength of the human spirit. Significant discoveries have shed new light on Epstein's operations. New evidence has come to light, and testimonies have provided a glimpse into the vast network of individuals involved. These revelations are crucial, not just for understanding the scope of Epstein's actions, but also for the pursuit of justice.
In recapping the main points, it's clear that Epstein's case is one of monumental proportions.
The ongoing importance of uncovering the truth is paramount. It's about justice, accountability, and ensuring that no one is above the law. The journey into Epstein's darkest secrets is far from over.
Jeffrey Epstein, a financier, a convicted sex offender, and one of the most enigmatic figures of our time.
He was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1953 and rose from a modest background to rub shoulders with presidents, princes, and Wall Street elites. But how did a college dropout with no degree climb the ranks so quickly? It started at the elite Dalton School, where he was hired to teach, despite lacking formal credentials. There, he met influential figures like Alan Greenberg, which eventually led him to Bear Stearns, and later to creating his own financial management firm, a firm shrouded in secrecy, catering exclusively to billionaires. But money was only part of Epstein's empire. Behind closed doors, a darker agenda was unfolding. The allegations began to surface in the early 2000s. Girls, some as young as 14, came forward with stories of grooming, abuse, and manipulation.
What started in Palm Beach quickly expanded.
Epstein was accused of orchestrating a vast trafficking ring, often under the guise of offering money for massages. But the deeper investigators looked, the more horrifying the pattern became. Victims described being recruited by other girls, often their own age, and being flown on Epstein's private jet, the now infamous Lolita Express, to his residences in New York, New Mexico, and Little St. James, his private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And through it all, Epstein remained protected. Epstein's reach extended into the highest echelons of society. His guest list included royalty like Prince Andrew, business moguls like Les Wexner, and politicians from both sides of the aisle, including former presidents. Photographs, flight logs, and party guest lists began to paint a picture of someone who was not just wealthy, but connected. Why did so many powerful people orbit around him? Was it just wealth or something more sinister? Some suggest blackmail. Others point to shared indulgences. Regardless, the silence was deafening. Despite mounting evidence, Epstein struck a shocking deal in 2008. He pleaded guilty to lesser charges, soliciting a minor for prostitution, and served just 13 months in a Florida county jail. He was allowed work release, spending most of his time in a private office, not behind bars. That deal, brokered by then U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta, effectively protected Epstein from federal charges. It also granted immunity to any potential co-conspirators. Years later, Acosta would resign as U.S. Labor Secretary when the deal resurfaced. How could this happen? And more importantly, why? In July 2019, Epstein was arrested again, this time by federal agents in New York. Prosecutors presented fresh evidence, photographs, documents, and survivor testimonies, reigniting hopes for justice. But that hope was short-lived. On August 10, 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his jail cell. The official cause, suicide by hanging. Yet the circumstances raised immediate suspicion. Broken cameras, missing logs, sleeping guards, the conspiracy theories practically wrote themselves. 2 guards were later charged with falsifying records. The prison faced scrutiny, but Epstein was gone. Was it a suicide, a silencing, or a convenient end for too many powerful interests? The true heart of this story lies not in Epstein's death, but in the courage of the women who spoke out. Survivors like Virginia Giuffre, Sarah Ransom, and Courtney Wild, among many others, refused to be silenced. They described years of manipulation, grooming, and abuse, often facing disbelief and public scrutiny. Their bravery forced the world to confront the horrors Epstein facilitated. They are the reason this story remains alive. Since his death, thousands of court documents have been unsealed, names were named, details emerged, connections drawn. The case against Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's close associate and enabler, brought even more to light. She was convicted in 2021 of multiple charges related to trafficking and conspiracy. But the documents raise further questions. Who else was involved? How many knew? How deep does this go? And most importantly, will we ever know the full truth? Epstein's story is not just about an individual predator. It's about the systems that enabled him. The prosecutors who looked the other way, the media outlets that buried stories, the institutions that prioritized reputation over responsibility. This is a cautionary tale about complicity. As we continue to examine Epstein's legacy, we must remain vigilant. Justice delayed is not always justice denied, but it does require persistence. To the survivors, your voices matter. To the audience, stay curious, stay critical, demand transparency.